come to Charlotte first. Louise, what did you think of Charlotte's performance?
Charlotte, this song was just absolutely stunning. I mean, you know that I love your voice anyway, but you look stunning as well this week, where you made the effort, you know, with your hair and makeup. The riffs that you put in were stunning. There were a couple of little bits where I went, oh, rewind that, let me see it again. And honestly, like, you've got that effect on people with your voice. Like, we're like, oh my god, listen to that. Like, it's just absolutely beautiful. The whole performance in itself, it just felt very pure. Like, it wasn't too fancy. You didn't do too much with it. It was just perfect. Like, it was just spot on what you did with it. So massive well done.
Kelly?
Yeah, this was beautiful. It was a really, really beautiful performance, and I do think that you took the song and you did just enough with it to make it your own and add, you know, your style to it. Your tone is just captivating. It's so soulful. It's sort of like this, from the moment you open your mouth, you draw people in. There's just something about the way that you. The way that you move your voice, the things that you do with a song, it's just absolutely beautiful. It really is. I had chills, mainly towards like the second half where you built it a little bit more and you went more into your riffs. But I had chills throughout that, and that's what you're capable of doing to somebody with your voice. You've got this natural emotion behind it, and just the way that you convey your songs is just. It's just absolutely beautiful. I do think there was a comment made that would have been beautiful live. I think you said it, Joe, didn't you? Yeah. And I am missing hearing you sing that live, because if you can do that, you know, recording from home, imagine how you can move us when we finally get to hear these songs live. So but that was just, it was stunning as always. It was just beautiful.
Yes, Charlotte, another fantastic week. I mean, if we're being honest, you've pretty much been smashing it right through this. I mean, we had that week with, was it Cymru for Love? But other than that, vocally, there is no faults. We can't pick up any faults, because what this process this time around is allowing us to do, I think, other than any seasons we've seen you in, is that we're really getting to you specifically what people can do vocally. And with your voice, you're in it like this, with just you, no microphone, nothing, is allowing us to hear exactly what you were capable of. So this season's doing you justice by a mile. It really is. So just keep doing what you're doing, because again, I think it was one of the standout performances of tonight, definitely, you know. So you should be really impressed with yourself. Well done. So we're going to come on to Zach. Louise, what do you think of Zach's performance?
Yeah, Zach, I'm a bit torn this week with you, to be honest. I got it, you know, the vocal. If you look at the vocal as a whole, it was a really fabulous vocal. The high note at the end was absolutely fab. We listened to it a couple of times. We were like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" But I think the track took away from your vocal. For me, your voice sounded out of place on such an empty track. I wish the track had more behind it. I wish it was rockier. And I thought you were having a rockier track, so I don't know what happened through the week or whatever, but I think if you'd have stuck to the rockier track, it would have been a phenomenal performance and one of your best. But it just sounded out of place. Your voice on that track and what you were doing with your voice and what you can do with your voice didn't match what your background was saying, if that makes sense. So I was a bit torn with it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that if I ignore the track and listen to what you did vocally, it was a fabulous vocal. But just please, you know, in future, like, really pay attention and think about what you need behind you to match what you're doing, because it does make a massive difference. But vocally, well done.
Kelly?
Yeah, I agree 100%. It was a very, very impressive vocal, but it was like saying to Celine Dion, here's a screamo track, go and sing over it. It just, it clashed. Do you get what I mean? It really, really clashed, because you had this, you know, you were sort of like, it was like guttural the way that you were singing, you know, like down there. And if you had that rock backing behind you, that would have really, really complemented everything that you were trying to do with that song. Whereas with the sort of like stripped acoustic sort of vibe that track gave, that the vocal sort of, it didn't do it justice at all. So I was a little bit gutted, especially because like when you messaged, you said, oh, I want to build my track myself because I want to make it more my own style. But your style is quite rocky, you know, even the things that you do with your voice, the way you throw your voice, it's quite rocky, and when you get passionate, it's really sort of, you know, bleh. So you need something behind you that's really going to show you off and really compliment you. And unfortunately, it just didn't gel. It just didn't gel. But it was a really, really impressive vocal. I'm just sad that we didn't sort of get to appreciate it in all of its entirety. So, but you know, in future, maybe that's something to take on board and something for you to embrace. But I mean, I know you built the track yourself, so that's huge well done for doing that, alongside the fact that you learned this song as well. So, well done.
Yeah, Zach, I mean, in terms of the track itself, I did find it wasn't the best built track, I gotta admit that. But I loved the arrangement of what you'd done with it, where it was quite simple to start, and then it kind of went really grudgy with the guitar, and then it broke down with that a cappella part in the middle, and then it went back grudgy then with that incredibly high note, and I had to listen to it twice because I couldn't believe that you was actually hitting that bang on where it needed to be. And I've never ever heard you sing that high. I know you've done screamo and things before, but that's the highest I've ever heard come from your vocal ability. So I've got to applaud you on that note. Like I said, I've never heard the other track to this, so I could only judge off what I was seeing. But I could hear that if the girl said, you know, that there was a rockier track, 100% a rockier track would have suited what you did vocally. So it definitely would have worked, you know, with that. But off what I saw, I'm glad you took the risk on the arrangement because it was different. Like I said, when you're making these tracks, try not to make them sound too made. Because the first half of it sounded like somebody's just kind of, you know, played with like Cubase or something and put it together. So it didn't sound realistic with what you was doing vocally. But once the guitar kicked in, I was feeling it more. But overall, vocally, I thought you'd done an incredible job vocally. I loved the build. You know, some of the notes could have come down softer on certain parts because it got really grudgy and it stayed grudgy. But the challenge that you took by doing a Sia song anyway, Elastic Heart, and then doing this with it, because I didn't even know if this could have worked. It could have crumbled very easily. So you took on a lot, building your track, all the visual you put together, changing up certain parts, adding that note. You actually done a lot this week, and I got to give you credit for that. So well done. On to Sienna. So Sienna, Louise, what did you think?
Yeah, Sienna, I think, you know, the jazzy bluesy vibe really, really suits your voice. You've got that natural kind of jazzy flow already in you, like when you sing. So it was a perfect song choice for you. And it was a really lovely, really clean vocal, so you should be really proud of it. I think, you know, the only tricky thing with the song that we gave you is it doesn't really go anywhere. And I know, like, in the week in your lessons, you know, we really tried to kind of change bits just to make it more your own. And I think, you know, given more time, there probably was room to change things even more, which would have added something even more special to it. But for what you did, you learnt a new song, you know, as everyone has this week. You made little changes, and I think the changes were really lovely, and I like that you did that anyway, and that you tried something different and tried this jazzy vibe. And I think that's where you should really start looking at songs in that genre, because I think you could sing anything from kind of jazz, blues and things like that. So it was a really lovely performance. Well done.
Kelly?
Yeah, it was a beautiful vocal, and I agree with Louise. This is definitely where you sort of sit best. And you can, you know, you can go on YouTube and find sort of like jazzy, bluesy karaoke versions of modern songs, and you know, you can really, really play around with it. So it's something that you should be really excited about exploring, because you know, to find your sound so quickly is quite a remarkable thing to do. Usually it takes people quite a long time to find where their voice sits and what they want to do and where they should be going. But you're quite lucky that, you know, you've got this sound, and it's like, wow, that really, really suits you. So, you know, it should be like quite an exciting thing for you to do. And another thing that I was thinking whilst listening to you was I just cannot believe how fast you've grown and how far you've come. It just goes to show just how much effort that you put in, and I really just want to commend you on that, because I know how hard working that you are and how determined you are, and that's not lost on us. That completely comes through in your performances every single week. So just a massive congratulations, well done.
Yes, Sienna, you definitely had a really, really good week this week. You know, like I said, we picked the songs this week, so you know we can only obviously expect what we're gonna hear from them. And this song is kind of one of them songs that don't really go anywhere, but oh my God, you sang that spot on. Is exactly what I would imagine you doing if you was out there doing your own thing. And yeah, again, I want to pick up, you know, like how far you've come so quickly throughout this process, and you've got to give yourself credit because you've come so far the last few weeks. So yeah, a massive well done on that performance. Nailed it again. And then last but not least, we've got Keris. So Louise, what do you think of Keris's performance?
Keris, what was nice about your performance this week is that you had fun with it. It was the most relaxed and most enjoyable I've seen you. You know, you were kind of like giving us the eyes, like almost telling the story through the camera, and it was really, really lovely to see you like that, because I think previous weeks you've seemed really kind of reserved and nervous, and this week you just kind of came out of your shell, and it was lovely to see, honestly. That song, I think you should use as a stepping stone, and I think you should use this performance this week to go out and do your research and listen to different songs that are similar to this, because this is probably the most suited I've heard your voice. Your voice is very, very unique. So, you know, you can kind of take any song and it'll sound like yours, as I've said to you before. But this kind of genre, it just came out of you so naturally. So please explore this path, kind of like almost sung word, if you like. It's not rap, but it's not you know, big belting and up and down singing. It's sung word, really. So please explore that, because I think you would sit perfectly there. And like I say, it would be effortless for you. But it was definitely, for me, your best performance of the season. I think you know, you've still got a lot of work to do. It wasn't perfect. There were still pitchy bits, you know. But keep going in this direction, and you will get there eventually. Well done.
Kelly, what did you think?
Yeah, this was by far your best performance to date, I think. Like Louise picked up, you had that playfulness back about you, which we haven't seen since your audition, I think. So yeah, I think with your audition song and this song, those are the kinds of, that's where you sit more comfortably. You've tried putting your voice to quite a few styles over the last few weeks, but none have stood out and shone as much as when you take on these. So don't be afraid to do what you want to do and what shows off your voice to the best of your ability. It's not about what anyone else wants to hear. It's purely about what you want to do and who you are. So don't feel like you've got to sort of conform and sing like, oh, they're singing that, so I need to sing that. No, that's not how it is. You do what you want to do, because this just really showed off where your ability was, and that it really emphasised that unique tone that we've been going on about every single week, and this really, really highlighted that, and that's one of your strengths, is that beautiful tone. So you really want to be exploring genres that are bringing that out, and like I said, it'll do your confidence so much good to sort of find out where you fit in, you know, and take on songs that show you off to your best. You know, rather than beating yourself up because you don't sound like this person, you're going to be embracing who you are and your sound. So just keep going in this direction, definitely.
Yeah, Keris, I mean, we've got to look at where you know, you've come into this season. This is completely new to you. You're learning your voice and things like that. And sometimes, well, the majority of the time through life, you know, we're all learning who we are as artists, and we're finding the right thing that suits us and gain experience, you know, and over time we all gain experience. And I think the trouble we've got here at this point, at this stage in the competition now for me, is that, you know, time is so crucial for you, because you are still a long way off from finding exactly where you sit well, with confidence vocally. And obviously we've been trying to push that out during the last couple of weeks to catch up, you know. But I think, you know, at this point we're coming up to the end of the process, and judged on a competition side of things, there is still a long way to go with you. And I think you know that yourself. There is a long, long way to go, because you were still getting comfortable singing in front of people. You haven't even had the opportunity to do that this season because it's all done by camera. So there's only so much work we can help you with, and like this through a camera. But I do think so far you've done well. You should be proud of any experience, no matter how many failures you have or whatever, so, because you've got to learn from it. But I really do feel like I would love nothing more than to see you coming back to another one of these processes in a few months' time. And after you go away and do your own work and really get into what you were capable of. Because I got no doubt, in a million years, no doubt, that you will fly. And I know you will, because I can feel it. I can feel it's there. But it's just not 100% ready at this point. And that's why you just need to be taking a bit more time on yourself and just realising, do you know what? Actually, I have got talent. They've told me I've got talent. I'm capable of going further. I just got to put in the work. And put in the work, and time and work will pay off big time for you. Other than that, this performance, it was a step up from previous weeks we've seen, and definitely the lane I expect to see you in future. Well done.